where culture meets context. The real is long, judged by the shadow of gold, where culture meets context. The real is long, judged by the shadow of gold, where culture meets.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Realist Lounge where culture meets context. I am your host, Shannon Nicole. Of course, we have Fu here in the middle, and we definitely have a special panel guest by the name of Dante Sink. Did I say your last name right? I don't like
Sinke.
that. Sinke. Okay, I like the last name. Well, welcome. We appreciate you all for stopping through. Now, listen here. Tonight's topic is definitely going to be hot on the press right now. We're talking about the great divide that's going on in America, especially within the Black community, because, of course, you know, TPS right now is ending for Haiti, and a lot of people are up in arms about it. It's a lot of conversations that's going on, some understanding, some not so understanding. And we're going to just see everything when it comes to politics, media, culture, family conversations, social media. You know how we do it. We're just a mixed bag. But our whole plan is to always just try to focus on what we can do to heal America and to heal the community, because what's good for the Black community is good for America. But tonight we are focusing on specifically the divide that's happening. Now, is this divide organic? Is it political? Is it media driven? Is it cultural? Or are we watching people be pulled in different directions, systems, parties, algorithms, blah, 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 blah? It's just all over the place, right? But tonight we're talking about political cults, FBA versus everybody, the rise and fall of the culture, the subculture that has influenced the culture, media influence, identity wars, and most importantly, whether solutions are still possible. So I want to introduce my guests. Dante, welcome to the show. Can you please tell our people about you? You have such an illustrious career. And we have a legend, y'all. We got a legend on here, just so you know. Tell the people about yourself. Welcome
Well,
again.
thank you for the compliments. I don't know how much of a legend I am, but just to give you a little bit about me, I've been in the radio business for about 40 years. I started off working at WHBQ in Memphis, Tennessee. Actually, back then, I actually paid my way to broadcasting school. They had broadcasting schools back in the day. My first job was at that station. It was the first station to play an Elvis song. Rick Dees is out of that station, as well as Wink Martindale. I did jazz at the University of Memphis at one point. At that time, it was Memphis State. A lot of people don't know it had the best jazz station in America. Unfortunately, it is now defunct. I later moved on to Nashville, Tennessee. Got a background in computers, so I worked for Dell Computers for 15 years. During that time, I just wanted to get back in the radio business. Went and talked to the people that had just started WNSR, which means Nashville Sports Radio. Howard Gentry Jr. was doing a Saturday show there. If you know anything about Tennessee State, his father's name is on the gym complex, the athletic complex. So they were thinking about going to network programming because they weren't making enough money. And Howard said, "Why don't you let David do it?" And then the rest is history. I spent 15 years doing morning drive for WNSR, me and a friend of mine, Greg Pogue. And at that time, I didn't realize it. My son is the one that did the research and said, "Dad, you were the first Black talk show host in the state of Tennessee on a sports radio station." Then, of course, a lot of people didn't realize I was Black until they started running the bus campaigns. In fact, my co-host was white. We always would joke that he was the Black guy and I was the white guy. A lot of the people didn't realize, even at the time where I was going to church, that I was actually that person doing that show. I'm an author. I've written The Pain of Vengeance, which is my latest release. I have another book called Blue Chip Down coming out. This is the book here. I have Blue Chip Down coming out in about September. That book is about a Black athlete who decided to not take his scholarship. The Pain of Vengeance is about basically a man who decides to steal his children because of the custody laws. Part of that story is my story. I will tell you that I am a survivor of a suicide attempt. I wrote this book because I needed, it was part of my therapy. It was first written back in 2002. I re-released it about 2 months ago, updated the cover, added some more text because the same thing that was happening back in the early 2000s is still happening today.
Wow.
So that's a little bit about me. I love writing. I've run multiple nonprofits. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night I'm having a grant writing seminar to help, nonprofits access grants. July 1st is the beginning of the fiscal year. Most of the foundations are releasing their RFPs, their requests for proposals, if you don't know what that means. And you'll have 30 to 45 days to get your proposals in. So I'm just going to try to help people do that. I set up rites of passage camps, rites of passage for young men, and rites of passage and queenship for young men and young women. My organization is called I Love My Children Too. It was designed to fight for fathers' rights, and it's still in effect today. God, I could just go on and on. I keep myself busy. That's
I can tell.
Yeah.
You are octopus. I
Yeah.
can see like you doing everything. And I love to hear that. And God bless you. I'm so grateful that you are willing to be so open with your story. You said you survived the suicide attempt, and with men's mental health month right now, this is definitely a perfect time to actually, pat yourself on the back for actually being able to move through something that you obviously were really suffering through. When it was it during your custody battle? Is
Yes,
that
as
what you're
a matter of
saying?
fact, I had started I Love My Children Too, and the name is pretty self-explanatory. And
Yeah.
I had spent $20,000 or something like that against with attorneys trying to just be active in my child's life. The judge said, if you just pay your child support, you'll be okay.
Arrears. Was it the arrears that
Oh,
got you?
oh no, it was just they were fighting tooth and nail to keep me from seeing him. And then, of course, I tell
Damn.
people all the time, you have to be careful of when you're trying to help other people that are going through negative experiences, because quite often you internalize that yourself if you don't
Yeah.
have an outlet. You see that a lot with ministers, is that when people are bringing stuff to ministers, quite often those ministers fall off because they've internalized that negativity. They're not equipped. They're not therapists. They don't know. My daughter right now is a clinical psychologist in Chicago, and quite often she'll take 2-3 months off because she has to deprogram herself. And at the time, I didn't know that. I just knew that every day I would drive up to a stoplight sometimes, and I'd just burst out in tears,
Yeah.
or I would have dreams of not being able to dig out of a hole. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I just planned that, hey, if all they think I'm good for is paying child support, then I will just simply kill myself and they can take my Social Security.
Damn.
So ultimately, I
Wow.
ended up going to work, thank goodness. And I always shout out to a very dear friend of mine, the late Dot Williams, who was my supervisor at the time. I got to work that day. I had planned to do it when I got home from work. And she said, Dave, you're just not acting the way you normally act. As you interact with customers, I can hear something else is going on. She took me to a team room. As soon as I walked in the door, I burst into tears, just crying like a baby. And they got me to the FMLA department, and they took me to the Vanderbilt psych ward. I spent 11 days there. I'm getting ready to write a memoir about it, because for the first 5 days, I didn't even participate. They took my shoestrings. I wouldn't go to group. I wouldn't take their medication. I was just a zombie. And they were
Dang.
saying that we're not going to let you out until you start participating. But they did let me make a phone call.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I used to do all the time would call my son. And at the time, he was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And I called him, and he said, Dad, I haven't talked to you in a week. What's going on? What are you doing? And I said, I almost died. I didn't tell him I had almost committed suicide. I said, I almost died. And he
Wow.
got quiet on the other end. And then he said, Dad, what would I have ever done without you? That's going to be the title of my memoirs, because it was at that point that I snapped back into reality After the conversation, I went back upstairs, asked for my shoestrings, started going to group, started taking the medication, although I ultimately ended up leaving it or stopped taking it after I got out. But I knew once I left that I would never do that again.
Mhm.
But when I would go to group, finally, those last 7, 8 days, people started saying, "You should be leading group. You should not even be in here." And so the rest is history. I finished the book. A very dear friend of mine, Dr. Rosie Milligan. Just a side note, you all should get her on your show. Wonderful lady. She does Black writers on tour in Carson, California every year. She brings Black writers from all over the country. She was in Nashville. I had invited her to come and speak to an organization that I was dealing with the night before. I had given her the first 8 chapters of the book. When she came out, when I picked her up that morning to take her on her media run, she got in the car and said, "Boy, you need to finish this damn book." And I finished the book, and basically the rest is history. So that's a little bit about my suicide. There
Yeah.
are scenes in this book that are really about me. Every character in this book is really basically an amalgamation of who I am, what I thought about. It's as I sit back and think about it, it's a fascinating culmination of characters that came out of my mind and things that I had thought about during that time period. So,
Yeah.
and I tell people all the time, one of the scenes of there's a kidnapping scene in the book, and that actually happened to me, being
Wow.
kidnapped at the time. So, um,
Yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
just
where that
really, and with Father's Day just coming, well, it just actually was the weekend that we just had,
is.
and then with um Men's Mental Health Month, I think that your story is touching a lot of people right now because I don't think that people understand that there's such a stigma when it comes to Black fathers.
Yes.
People automatically assume that Black dads are not in the house, that Black dads don't want to be fathers, and they don't know about the mental stress. And I see it firsthand about the mental stress that they go through when it comes to them being able to be present in the lives, especially when depending on what type of woman that you're dealing with, who possibly may just want to be bitter and may want to, take you through the ringer or whatnot. So your story, you may have really helped somebody today.
I,
So
I hope so.
I'm grateful that you shared that with our listeners.
I
And I
often
really go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Mhm.
I often tell people, the myth that they have purported about Black dads is the same about the myth that they purport about Black crime. You hear
Yeah.
people talking about Black on Black crime. You never hear people talking about white on white crime. And
Yeah.
Harvard did a study. It's been about 8, 9 years ago now, where they studied fathers in the homes, and surprisingly to a lot of people, that Black fathers are more active in the homes and the lives of their children than any other
Yeah.
group.
I
Okay,
saw that. I saw
and
that study.
yeah, and it was published in the LA Times. When I went out to Los Angeles to do my seminars about this particular case, a lot of Black women jumped down my throat until I presented the data to them. So we have to understand and do a better job of doing the research. Part of
Mhm.
what I do on my show, Black Focus Radio, is I deal with facts. I don't deal
Yeah.
with opinions. I deal with facts, and I tell people that if I say something on my show and it's not true or it's not factual, you're more than send me an email. Let me know because I want to be sure that I'm right on the things that I talk about. And when you talk about fathers, the common denominator of all the negative behavior our children participate in is fatherlessness. That's
Yeah.
that's that's poor grades. That's early teen pregnancy. That's early access to drugs and alcohol. That's gang activity. You name it. And I have prima facie evidence where when I was in Nashville, I would go down and counsel some of the young people at juvenile court, and the first thing I would ask them is, where you know your dad? Where's your dad? They'd all say, I don't have a dad. I don't know my dad, or whatever the case may be. So the key, if we want to save our community, and not just our Black community, but community as a whole, we need to make sure
Yeah.
that we get fathers back in the lives of their children. I am a product
Mhm.
of a person who didn't know his father. My mother died and never told me his name. And thank God I have a wonderful daughter who has done yeoman's work over the last 3-4 years through ancestry.com. And for the first time just this past week, not only were we able to trace back who my father was, we were also able to trace back my lineage all the way back to 1820 in New Orleans.
Come on now.
And going even further back to Nigeria and Ghana, where 75% of my DNA resonated from Ghana and Nigeria. So I like to say I'm purebred African, although I live in America. So
got you.
It's important for us to make sure that fathers are in the lives of their children. And my 2 children are classic examples because I fought tooth and nail. I raised holy hell. I fought the state of Tennessee. And the fact that I did that, both of them, I'm very proud. I just said my daughter is a clinical psychologist. She was very young when she got her master's degree and got an award, got hired by the state of Chicago. And then, of course, my son is he's in military intelligence. He works for the government. And all of that is because, I stood steadfast. You were not going to run me away from my kids.
I love that. That's cool. That's what's up. Yeah, I actually I'm not sure. You say do you talk to your dad, Fu?
Nah. Haven't talked to him in a couple years now.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't meet my father until I was in my 20s. And that was thanks to my grandmother, resting in heaven right now. My grandmother actually is the one who got me connected to my dad. And yeah, I still don't know the story of what happened. It's kind of like, I don't know, don't ask, don't tell. But who do you all think is responsible for just the fatherlessness that's going on in our community? Like, who is it? Is it poor choices in our partners? Is it like, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think contributes to you not really having that close bond with your dad?
Oh, I'm father a piece of shit. What's the difference? Nah.
Was he always a piece of shit though?
Yes.
Did your mama know he was a piece of shit?
Yes.
Damn. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like this is my thing, right? Why would you have a child with somebody a piece of shit?
Different.
I'm talking about your mama in general. I'm just talking about overall.
It always depends on the situation. My mother had me at 14.
Oh shit.
My father was 18, and the families knew each other. That's what I'm saying. So you gotta think about that dynamic. But yeah, whatever you want to think about, yes. And I got older cousins. I asked my mother, I was like, how the hell did that happen with you and daddy? And Thomas and Eddie ain't whoop his ass. They was like, because all of them was cool with each other. Because like I said, the families were cool. That's why I said it was a different type of situation. It was
a different time back then. Yeah, it was definitely a different time.
And then my father cheated on my mother, and that's how my brother came about.
Papa that's what I'm saying. Rolling Stone, huh?
Nah, he's just stupid. It wasn't rolling.
I found out my dad, and he told me that my dad got 12 kids, y'all. 12. Sprinkled all around the map. All around. I don't know who my siblings are. I only was able to connect with one. Luckily, my man's he's not my sibling. Okay. I know this much. But yeah, like just a rolling stone. And I don't know. Like, can you give us like some insight on that? What you think, Dante?
Well, see, here's what, I've been watching Boardwalk Empire. If you all haven't seen that, that is a great, great series. It came out years ago. I watched it then, and I just finished it again about a week or so ago. And they play, the Black community in New Orleans play a very, very significant role in that series. And it kind of rang home to me because I discovered that I have roots in New Orleans, but we have to understand that sexual promiscuity, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was not just in the white, it was in the Black community, it was in the white community. Excuse my vernacular. those people were fucking like jackrabbits. Excuse my French. Okay.
Yes.
And kids were born. I will tell you that, as much as I hate to admit it, but I'm a product. My father was actually married. Okay. My mother was actually married when I was conceived.
Ooh,
that's based on what we've discovered. Now, I love my mom, but the way things were going on back then, and here's the other thing, we found out that even her father didn't believe that he fathered her by my grandmother. So sexual promiscuity was going on, and back then they didn't have birth control. Okay,
yeah, they was just all over the place,
and they were just doing the do, and some things happened. At one time, I thought maybe I was a product of incest. That's something that ultimately I found out I wasn't. But that went on a lot. It goes on a lot in the Black community. And what we do, what I found is that it's swept under the rug more so than anything else, because you don't want to get that man in trouble and send him to jail for sleeping with his little 13-year-old daughter or his niece or whatever the case may be. So I don't really have an answer to it. But when you go back and you look at history, it was very, very prevalent.
There was some freaks. They was some freaks back in the day. And definitely when you talk about incest, like a lot of folks don't believe that I actually did that did happen in our community.
Happened a lot. And you have to realize, where did it emanate from? It emanated from slavery.
It emanated from the breeding farms
that nobody ever talks about.
Like, in fact, I don't know if you know this, fool, where the term mother effer came.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. I was watching a documentary not too long ago on like West Virginia, and they have a lot of incest that goes on up there.
And still in the Appalachian Mountains.
And they fine with it. Like, they are okay with it. It's still going on today.
Yeah.
All that kissing cousin stuff, all of that. It's been real. And it's scary. But the sweeping under the rug thing is where the problem comes about.
Yeah.
Because those are issues that needs to be addressed. But the same way you talked about, there was no birth control back then. It wasn't no such thing as a damn going to see no therapist either.
No,
that wasn't a thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we are where we are, because people didn't believe that. Like, there was a thing where in the Black community, people was not going to therapy. Like, people didn't believe in therapy. They looked at it as if that was just something that white folks did.
Yep.
And honestly, we probably wouldn't have a lot of unhealed people out here had we possibly followed that trend of going to therapy and getting help. Like, you got to think about it. Like I said in one of my videos not too long ago, like the crack epidemic in particularly, like that still is going now. Like, people are still feeling the effects of what crack did to the community. Yeah. And I think that if we probably would have taken the advice of seeing our white brothers and sisters go to therapy, we wouldn't have so many unhealed people in relationships, having children, raising children while they're unhealed, and then raising unhealed children into a situation where they possibly need healing from. So yeah, it's a big old mess. It's a big old mess. Big old mess. But we're gonna go ahead and check and see what's going on out there in the world, well, in the country. We do something called Fresh Off the Press, where we have I usually have the co-host share something that is going on in the news that they may want to share with our listeners. So, Fool, what you see in the news this week? I know you've seen something.
It's not even in the news because it's not being talked about, but Jermaine sent it to me like right before I got in the house. Chris Johnson, who was a running back in the NFL, one of the, I think, 9 running backs who ever ran for 2,000 yards. All of a sudden, he has ALS. and doesn't have that much longer to live. Now, here's the reason why this is important. If I'm not mistaken, he retired at 30 because he said he wanted to live his life. Say this, did everything right. He's 39 years old, and all of a sudden he has ALS. You already know where I'm going with it. He took that damn shot. Nobody's talking about that. That's where the problem. This is where the problems come in at, because ALS is not something that's prevalent anyway. It's damn sure not active in the Black community, and it has to deal with your nerves. That's one of the.
Soon as you said that, that shot start messing up on you. So you know you got to be careful with saying.
That's why we. But the thing about it, and me and when I say I was talking to Jermaine all the way home before I logged on, it bothers me that not enough people who are having issues or know that's the reason, they just won't admit it. Yeah. Because that's the only way we can move forward, when someone actually says it of prominence. And if people don't know this, the only time it happened was when Marvelous Marvin Hagler died, and Tommy Hitman Hearns mentioned it. They shut Tommy Hearns up quick, and now all of a sudden Tommy Hearns is broke and his family took his money. It's always ramifications.
I saw that.
When I tell you that the world that we live in, dominoes get hit and you start to see it fall, but nobody ever wants to admit who kicked over the damn, like, why was it kicked over? That's my whole thing. The difference between myself, you, and probably the brother that's on the screen, we don't care about what the consequences are going to be. We're going to speak the truth. Yeah. Too many people are fearful, and they move by that because they know that that's how they can get over on people. Whatever they're going to do to me, do it. I don't care. I'm not going to be quiet, and I wish more people would open up and just tell the damn truth.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we are where we are right now in this country, where everything, it feels like that America is unraveling by the seams right now, like seriously. And I think that they're throwing so much fluff out there right now to keep us so distracted. Like I already told you, just so everybody is aware, I'm taking me a break from social media. I gotta just unplug. It's too noisy. It's way too noisy, and the thing is that even when it comes to politics, I don't believe half of what I see on the news anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't. I don't believe that people are so dense that they can't understand that, like, our country is being taken over by a foreign government. I don't know.
Which foreign government?
We can't say that name.
You can't say it?
We're going to say TLC.
The TLC. That's
well, let's just say the foreign government that is getting $8 billion a year.
$8 billion. But then on top of that, they have a bill that was introduced by a Republican, which a lot of people aren't aware of. I think it's called HR 8800. And this bill is trying to combine our militaries with a whole nother government's military. And they're not doing it just because we need some extra help. No, they're doing it so they could get funding without having to go through Congress. Right. And the fact that me, as a conservative, I don't think a lot of my conservative brothers and sisters, whether you're white, black, don't matter what color you are, I don't think that you guys are aware that this is happening, because we have so much division that's going on when it comes to politics. At this point in Indiana, I am an independent because I don't like the things that my government is doing out here. And I think that because politics has divided the country so much, it definitely divided the Black community probably way more than it has ever been divided in my years of being on this planet. And I think that these conversations are so necessary because people need to understand that at the end of the day, it really ain't got nothing to do with red versus blue. It has a lot to do with sane and insane, evil and not evil, because they both are being pretty much ran by the same people. That's why they call them lobbyists. They lobby on both sides. So seeing that right now, this is my fresh off the press. I usually don't do it, but Mark's not here. Happy birthday to Mark, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday, bro.
Yeah.
The rent freeze up there in New York. That's why I wanted Tony L on here. Tony, I'm mad at you because I emailed your ass and I wanted you on here. That is a dangerous game. And I don't live in New York, but I'm gonna tell you why I see that it's going to cause a lot of problems. Do you remember when they had the freeze on evictions because of C-19, right?
Yeah.
Remember when they took that freeze off in 2023?
Uh-huh.
What happened?
Motherfuckers getting evicted. They had to pay back pay. But did you see the video that Tony made about the rent freeze?
Yes, I did.
I blasted every time I saw somebody talk about Mondami and that rent freeze, I replied with his video and tagged him. That video, I got his video going viral on Twitter because Tony broke it down. And I think that's what we're missing. What we're missing is explanation. All we getting is bits. We get clips and this, that, whatever. And people don't look at explanations. Tony elaborated on it beautifully. He broke everything down. But all they want to do is talk about fluff. I don't want to hear no fluff. Tell the truth. That's what we missing. People, I think, honestly, I know they move off of people's fear, but it's always say the same thing. Everybody wants honesty, but everybody can't handle the truth. Period.
No, the lie is way more entertaining. It's more entertaining to be like, oh, my rent is frozen for 2 years, so that means that I could breathe a little bit. But you're not thinking of what's gonna happen after that shit thaw out. You know what I'm saying? How soggy it's going to be. Somebody over on, and shout out to IG. I got somebody. It says Independent Thoughts by V. They said the Muslims, Islamists are going to own New York. They're gonna have to fight for it because the Jews own New York. They really from the same bloodline.
But when you the other thing about people, and I hope y'all, because I'm from Jersey. New York is a different beast. People got to understand this. California is its own animal, but California is like this. New York is like this. When you start talking about New York City, when you talk about Queens and all that, New York City is so tight.
Yep.
And it's a powder keg. And when New York explodes, if anybody watches Batman, Gotham City is New York. That's where we're headed
Gotham City for the
right
ghetto, ghetto. I'm telling you, it's gonna be Gotham City out there, man. I'm scared of New York.
I always hated New York.
I rock with New York people. Shout out to New York. I rock with New York people because New York people, they don't give a damn about telling you what it is.
Nope.
They don't care about telling you how they feel, and they so raw with it. I love that about New Yorkers. But this is a dangerous situation, and I'm sending y'all prayers and well wishes, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of the stuff that happened in New York and California, it start bleeding into other areas. It just start coming to Indiana, like where I'm at. Like we don't need that type of stress here in Indiana. We already got enough people. Like, I don't know if I told you that they're paying people incentives to move to Indiana right now.
I don't I've said this to you before, and I've said it on panels before, and people don't realize this. When New York and California are thriving, the country is thriving.
Yeah.
We have been fucked up for a while, and New York and Cali has been fucked up for a while, and people don't see this.
Yeah.
They don't, and it's a chain reaction of what's going on. I know y'all saw what happened in Chicago.
Which mean with the
Chicago is about to lose the Bears. The Bears,
they coming over here to Indiana.
But they've been in Chicago for over 100 years due to poor government. Here's the other caveat to that. Morton Salt has been in Chicago for over 100 years. They're leaving too. So the infrastructure of cities and states, I'm gonna say more so cities, they're leaving, and people not catching on to this. It is it's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Just quickly, and by the way, thank you for shouting out to CJ. I actually covered CJ while I was in Nashville for the Tennessee Titans. He and I are really good friends, and I sent him a message this morning, just letting him know that he's in my prayers. But I have a little different take on the Bears and these oligarchs, as I call them. I don't call them millionaires. I call them oligarchs. I think it's a travesty, and I watched the stadium in Nashville being built on taxpayers' dollars. They're building another stadium right now in Nashville on taxpayers' dollars. I watched the arena where the Nashville Predators play, built on taxpayers' dollars. To my knowledge, there has only been one football stadium that was ever built. I could be wrong, and that was Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami that was built by the owner. Okay, Green Bay is owned by the people. By the people.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people that I don't want my tax dollars going to support people like Elon Musk. Elon Musk just became a trillionaire. He became a trillionaire off of contracts that was awarded to him by our government, which is basically our tax dollars. So, it's a tragedy that the Bears are leaving. But on the other hand, they're leaving because the city of Chicago said, we're not going to foot the bill for you guys building a new stadium. That's what that's really all about. So if you want, I just don't want my tax dollars, especially what's going on now. You see, I don't want my tax dollars going to all these rich oligarchs who are making Jeff Bezos, and we're paying more taxes as individuals than some of these millionaires and billionaires. They just got $1 trillion tax cut.
So can I ask you a question? And I hear you 110% on that, because I don't like that either. What is your thoughts on our taxes going to illegal immigrants?
Well, again, I think here's what I do know, that illegal immigrants, if they work in America, they pay a hefty tax.
No, okay? They don't. They don't. It's wrong.
Well, I'm just saying, look, I'm telling you, I know from personal experience, okay, that the taxes that this person that I know was paying, yeah, they pay a tax. Now, as far as my tax dollars going to help other people, when our schools are not being taken care of, our kids can't get lunch, we don't have health care. The one thing that came out about this World Cup that people are ignoring is that the majority of the people that are in the World Cup that are playing are Black. Okay. And there was a report that came out last week that said all of the people that are in the knockoff round right now, all of the teams, every one of them has universal health care except one. You know who that country is? The United States. Okay. We should have universal health care. We talked about that country that we're paying $8 billion a year. They got universal health care. They got free college. They got all of those things. So what I'm saying to you, and that's why I'm for some of these quote unquote democratic socialists, because they are really, when you say America first, that means that you take care of home first. I take care of my house first, and then my charity goes out to what I have left over, if I have anything left over. We've got to start taking care of our own people. And right now, the government has done a great job in pitting us against one another. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. Jeff Bezos, the owner of Facebook, all of these guys who are making billions and billions of dollars. Now we got these data centers. Okay, you can come up with money for data centers, but you can't come up with money for schools. Just in Arkansas is where I grew up. They just gave $300 million to private schools. Yet, oh, by the way, they also gave $100 million, bought $100 million in bonds for that state in the other country that's killing kids. One other quick point I want to make. Y'all remember back in the day when they used to have the lynchings and the white people would come out and bring the picnics and the kids, and they would take pictures, and these postcards would be sold all over the country and so on and so forth. Guess what's going on right outside of Palestine? Those kids are now going and camping on top of a hill, bringing lunches and watching the Palestinians get bombed. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So then they started getting chastised about that. So now that particular government now has video screens that they set up in various parts of that state where their people can watch the Palestinians get bombed and killed. There have been 70,000 Palestinians killed since that thing began. Nobody's talking about that. See, so what we ought to be thinking about is actually what our government is doing, because our government is really the problem. And we can't change it, but we can certainly get people. I'm glad to hear you said you were independent. So am I. I've been an independent for almost 40 years.
Well, I'm a conservative independent. I'm an independent in Indiana. Because
I'm an independent, period.
Yeah, I'm a conservative. I'm a conservative, but here in Indiana, I don't know. I don't like the Democrats or how the Republicans operate here.
Well, the left ring and right ring is part of the same bird.
Yeah, they a little.
Did you hear what Carville said the other day?
Yep.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
Because those Democratic socialists was winning in New York, and many of them are saying America first.
They're not.
I'm just saying many people are. I'm going by what Carville said.
No. They don't do that. They ain't say America first. Don't say that. That's not true.
Well, what Carville said is that he doesn't want to be a part of a party that will not support that state. Now, wait a minute.
Now, wait, is this the same guy?
The Crypt Keeper. Yeah.
He needs to shut up talking.
But
I heard him say some very nasty stuff.
The same thing is we don't want to be part of the Democratic Party anymore if we don't support that state. I've been telling people for decades now is that the people have got to take back their power. The people have allowed social media, the news media, what I used to call the tell lies vision, control us. I beg people to go and read. Go do some research. And when you start doing research, you begin to understand that a lot of the stuff that you've been told is nothing but lies. We got to start paying attention to that. And that old saying, each one, teach one, we've got to literally take that to heart and start dropping knowledge on everybody that we meet. Because right now, this country is ran by oligarchs. You know, that's what's going on. When you think you have power as an individual, you don't have no power. They're making all the money. And your kids are starving, your neighborhoods are running the pot, all of that stuff. And they're saying, oh, well, that's socialism. Well, wait a minute. When you got a 34 count convicted felon in the White House, when you've got someone who is hiding the Epstein files, who don't want anyone to know what actually happened.
Whoa. Right? One second. So what we not gonna do is talk about we got a felon in the White House, because we literally just dealt with 4 years of a man who literally takes showers with his daughter and nobody said anything. That man in the White House, in my opinion, needed to get in the White House. He needed to.
Why do you say that?
He needed to. Well, let's see. Our borders were wide open and military-aged men were coming through our borders. We lost over 300,000 children that were being trafficked at the border. They met some children who had name tags and addresses that were on their shirts, sending them to places, to people that they have no idea where they're going to. Also, I wasn't a fan of forcing our children to get mutilated and get sex changes. I wasn't a fan of our children being forced to take puberty blockers. Nor was I a fan of us having a commander-in-chief who could barely stand and ride a bicycle without falling over.
But don't you
I definitely was not a fan. Hold on. I definitely was not a fan, and still the hell am not, of illegal aliens coming into my country, being able to get housing and assistance and jobs while people were still trying to get their footing because of the country being shut down. I'm definitely not a fan of them coming over here and not having to learn how to even communicate with us. I'm not a fan of what the Democrats have done. So I get it. I know you're independent, but we're not going to sit here and say that the man in office who so-called has felonies is the problem of where we are right now. Everything that's going on in this country is a blowback of what has been going on for a very long time.
Well,
and if
I wasn't
it could have been,
that he was
could have been, but you insinuate. I don't like what I can't stand when people bring up those cases as if him being a felon is making him a bad leader, because that's just kind of what it insinuates. They use that same topic every time. That's that liberal talking point. Oh, well, he has X amount of felonies. He doesn't have them because he was never convicted of any of them. So when you bring that up, it's like you're bringing it up to downplay who he is as a person in office, as a president, as a man who's right now leading our country, all while ignoring that honestly he is the best decision that we had, because if we didn't get him, we would probably have little Muslim towns all across this country, which we're already having now, but that started before he even got in office. Well, if he wouldn't be in office, we would still have a border that's open, where people are able to come in and out.
Because at the end of the day, Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about black people.
Don't say that.
He doesn't.
Why do you feel that way?
He doesn't.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, let's look at some prima facie evidence here. I mean, we can go back to the Central Park 5. We can go back to him.
Wait a minute. No, hold up. Wait a minute. Before you say that, when it comes to the Central Park 5 in that article, did he ever mention the Central Park 5?
He didn't have to mention it. He inferred it.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Wait a second. Hold on, guys. I gotta guess. And I gotta introduce this queen because she was about to take a nap. And I had to bring my sister on. What's going on? What's up?
How you doing? How you guys doing?
How you doing?
Welcome, y'all. This is Miss Only Black American. Okay. And she came to join us. Now, right now, what we talking, because you just came into a conversation. Mm-hmm. We just talking. And right now, Dante is saying that pretty much Donald Trump doesn't care about black people. And then he brought up the Central Park 5, and then Fu was about to school him on that. And then, I just wanted to put you up on game of what we're talking about right now. And
okay, just a little history. I actually have some experience with that Central Park 5, because I used to in New York, I joined Kamran Muhammad's youth group, and they were supporting, was it Malik? It was one of them who was on house arrest. And so I'm actually familiar with the case, and we were like supporting their freedom at the time. He was on house arrest at the time. He's now the city council of Harlem, city council.
You talk about the tall, dark skinned one, the tallest one.
Yes, he's now Youssef, that's his name. Yeah. He's now the city council president. So I mean, he came a long way. I mean, I remember it was a rough time. It was a rough time for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would, to be honest with you, I would say let's talk about the community. I don't want to get into politics.
No, you already start. Go ahead, finish your point with the Central Park 5, because I know you from up that way, so you know a lot more about it than I could go. So
no, the article. The problem is that to bring that up is irrelevant, because in that article it was specific about what was going on in New York at the time, which was actually murders, and that's actually in the article. Nothing was inferred about the Central Park 5. He said what he said about the Central Park 5 after they confessed. And was it a coerced confession? Yes, everybody can admit that. But he didn't say that until after the fact. So obviously he thought that they actually did it. So bringing that up to me is moot, because that has nothing to do with it. And I would ask you this question. Give me one instance where any president has ever said anything specific about black people from a podium. Just one. Just give me one. You muted.
Hey,
You muted. You muted.
Y'all caught me.
It's okay. I'm putting on shea butters myself. I got my shea. My feet are a little.
Welcome, y'all. So right now we talking about. You just slid in. Welcome, Tish, y'all. Welcome. Say everybody say hi to Tish, y'all.
How you doing?
I just got off work, everybody. Sorry, I'm looking a little bit rough, but
no, you don't. You look beautiful. You look like a woman that was on the move. Y'all both look beautiful. I love it. We needed some feminine energy on here. I'm usually surrounded by men, but no. So go ahead. I'm sorry, fool. Make your point when it comes to the Central Park 5.
No, I did that already, but his mic is muted. We can't hear him.
Oh, I didn't mute it.
He probably muted himself.
Oh, okay. You can mute it. You can mute your mic.
Nah, you know what? It's probably going on with him. What was happening? Remember how people be getting on and all of a sudden they can't hear us. We can't hear them. That's probably what's going on.
Yeah. Well, until he comes back,
So
I'm gonna introduce. Okay. Go ahead, and then I'm gonna go ahead.
I didn't touch anything, so it had to be something on you.
It happens like that sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I promise I didn't.
All right. So here's my point.
Okay,
and
go ahead.
I brought up the Central Park 5 because you asked me, give me some examples. That's one of many. If you're raised in a household that your father was a racist and part of the Ku Klux Klan, what are the odds that you're going to be part of that? Okay. He also didn't want black people to count his money. He didn't want black people to go to his to stay in his buildings.
One second. I don't want black folks count my money either. Depending on who it is.
But that's fine.
Be honest.
But you're asking me for examples. All right. I'm a little older than you guys, so I see racism a little differently than you guys do. That doesn't make me better than you. Doesn't make me worse than you. But I've seen this up close and personal. And as Maya Angelou once said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And he's showing you an example after example. Just recently, he's trying to take down all of the black Harriet Tubman's museums. They're trying to eliminate black history in our schools. You know, and look, this is not me being a Democrat or Republican. I'm neither one, but I like to call it like I see it. And what I see in Donald Trump and his administration, even Pete Hegseth just denied one of the most decorated black generals in our military a promotion. Why are they doing that? You see, those are the questions that you've got to start asking when you start dealing with these types of people. Now, whether you agree with his policies or not, I don't agree with any of these presidents' policies. I didn't agree with Obama's policies. I thought Obama did a better job for the black community, but he did not. In fact, I wrote him a long letter. I'm getting ready to send him a copy of my book and write him another letter, because when he came out and attacked fathers based on what he didn't know, and then I throw the statistics at him, that's a different story. So
did you vote for Obama?
I voted for him the second time. I voted Republican.
You voted for him the second time?
I voted Republican. I voted Democrat. I voted Independent. It doesn't matter. You see, where I grew up in Arkansas, Arkansas was a Republican state during that time period. Winthrop Rockefeller was a Republican. My mother was a Republican. Okay, so that's why I don't have an allegiance to either one of them. I look at what they're going to do for the black community, and none of them. It goes all. You talked about the crack epidemic earlier. People don't realize that was Ronald Reagan and Oliver North who caused the crack epidemic. They are the ones who was flying crack cocaine into the black community when they were sending arms to the Nicaraguan Contras. A lot of people don't understand that. That's how Freeway Rick Ross got involved in that. He got involved because he was trying to save his skin. But it was the government who created the crack epidemic. It was Joe Biden who supported the 3 strikes out law. So we as black people have to be careful when we start thinking that one party is going to be better than the other party. That's why I say all the time, the right wing and the left wing is part of the same damn bird. And I was talking to my wife earlier. What black people should be doing now is voting in blocks. And I don't mean to be long, but let me just give you an example. When we were in Memphis, the first mayor, the black mayor that was elected in Memphis was Dr. Willie Harrington. There were 3 other candidates who were black who wanted to run. in order for us to have a consensus candidate, the city of Memphis, Black people in Memphis, came together and put together what was called the African American Cultural Alliance. And we went to the Mid-South Coliseum and made every one of those Black candidates swear that they would not get in the race unless they were chosen by that particular campaign. That's how we got Willie Harrington elected during that time period. So
quick question. I have a question. I'm sorry to cut you off. So did you vote in the election last year?
Did I vote last year? I didn't vote for the presidency. I voted for the down ballot offices, various down ballot offices. I don't always vote for the president.
So you didn't vote at all last year. So you didn't vote for Kamala or Trump? I
didn't vote for anyone in the president on the presidential ticket at all. I voted in down ballots.
Okay. Well,
again, I use my vote to my benefit. Okay. And just because, look, I don't believe in voting for you because you're Black. I don't believe in voting for you because you're a Democrat. I believe in voting for people who are going to help my community. I don't give a damn about the Arab community. Only community that I care about is the Black community. And what are you going to do for our community? You see, don't come to my community talking about what's going on somewhere else. What are you going to do for the Black community? Because none of these candidates
you don't think that closing those borders was beneficial to the Black community?
How was it? I hear people say that all the time, but see, Black people have been poor all along. Here's our problem.
But we haven't.
But here's our problem.
Most Black people are lower middle class.
Yeah, let me just make this point here. Here's our problem. We spend $2.1 trillion annually economically in the Black community. Less than 10% of that money goes into Black businesses.
Because because these businesses in the community are full of immigrants.
That may be true, but guess what?
I think that
if I set up a Black business, let me make one quick point and I'll be done. I have seen a Black business, a Black store and a white store, or an Arab store, whatever you want to call it, sitting right next to one another. Black people will beat a path to that Arab store and won't go into that Black store. Let me ask you a question and I'll be done. When was the last time you saw an Arab, an Hispanic, a Asian, or a white person cater to a Black business other than a food restaurant? They don't do it. They automatically boycott us. We won't do that. That's a mental thing. So we can sit back and blame everybody else, but I've seen the enemy, and the enemy is we. We got to support one another. That's my point.
I want to interject because I feel like sometimes and I do it too, we take one situation and then we blow it up as though it's a general fact. And the thing is, Arabs and whatever, they do buy Black. They just buy Black when it's a Jay-Z product or a Beyonce product or a Rihanna product or what have you. So they will do it if we are mainstream. But I do agree with you that on a local level, they will not support us unless we have transcended in their minds our Blackness in terms of we have to have a stamp. But they do support if we get to a mainstream level. But your whole premise, I definitely agree with. I just want to add a little bit more. I think sometimes, and this is my personal preference, my personal thoughts, okay? As a community, I would like us to get away from politics, not saying that we can't talk about politics, but we have to look at policies and whether they are beneficial or not, and be more objective and less triggered, because I feel like we get triggered a lot and then it's hard for us, which we should get triggered. I don't think we shouldn't. I think we should be angry and we should be upset by what's happening. However, let's just be real. Immigration is not good for the ethnic Black American community, because what they do is they don't import. If they imported people like Lumumba, or they imported people like that had a mindset that was completely different, then maybe we could have more immigration. But they're importing people who have Mobutu's mindsets. They're importing people who have very white mindsets into our country. These aren't Asians who are revolutionaries. These aren't Arabs that are revolutionary and think that we're all one people of color. These are people who have bought into white supremacy and want to uphold white supremacy. And so they feel like they come into this country and they are excited because we are the only, I want us, and I've said this before on my platform, on TikTok, is that I want us to get to understand ourselves on a global mindset and a global level, because that is where I feel like we got messed up, and we're evolving now to that point, is that we looked at ourselves from a domestic standpoint as a community for so long, and we allowed white people and white supremacy to tell us where we stood in that hierarchy in America. However, we are in a global hierarchy, and in a global hierarchy, we're doing pretty damn good. And let's take that now, right? So you're importing all these people from other countries who have never seen a group of people who are Black or melanated, whatever you choose to, indigenous, whatever you choose to call us. They have never seen that kind of success in their countries of a whole group of people. Now, y'all might come over here and say, well, we're living in the hood and everything, but our hoods are better than their third world developing countries in a lot of ways. However, even if they are in the top 1 to 3 percentile of their countries, which a lot of these Africans are that come over here, they still haven't seen a group of Black people do well, because they suppress 97% of their countries. So when they come here, they have no idea how we are existing, how we are functioning. They don't understand why we have what we have, why we are where we are. All they know is that the white tea people told them that we're the bad guys, and if they want to fit in, then that's what they should do. And they're operating on autopilot, no matter what we say, no matter how much we try to educate them, no matter how much we try to support, which we did as fools in some ways, unfortunately. They don't care. They just want to be down. They think they have bought into white supremacy. We cannot ever ally with anybody, whether one of us, whether one of them, anybody who has bought into white supremacy. That doesn't mean we can't have a mutual, and I'll land my plane. That doesn't mean we don't have a mutual agreement for a time to get something or to do a business real quick, because we have to deal with people. But that means that we cannot think of those people as our allies, and they are actually our enemies. Just like white supremacy people are enemies, they are our enemies too if they buy into it. Now, if there are individual people who come from these countries that share a Pan-African mindset, even though I don't anymore, I used to, or think of us as brothers and sisters, as individuals, maybe we can, work with that. But most of them are not thinking like that. They'll shuck and jive if they think they can get something from us or online and pretend, but that is not where they're at. And we cannot exist in, especially with all this immigration, we cannot exist in a domestic hierarchy anymore. We have to look at ourselves in a world hierarchy. And we are the number one ethnic group, or melanated, out of our racial group. We are the top racial group in terms of success in the entire world. And we are the rich cousins that everybody wants to bring down a peg, who wants to take something from, who wants to take, and we have to understand our position in the world, not just in America at this point. And I'm done with my point.
I want to say something real quick, and I'm gonna let Tish and April jump on. We got two new panelists or whatever. Basically, the fact of the matter is, we need to take care of home first. True. I don't care about Palestine. I don't care about anything outside of the U.S. I could care less, because in our community, things are so discombobulated because we all going against each other that there's no unity. There is no Black culture. The Black culture been gone. Let me talk about that shit. Been gone years ago. We wanted to come back, but we're so divided that it's scary. And when I think about the infiltration of the Black community, those particular groups, they got grants from the government in order to get those businesses without and like super easy. But in our community, we don't take advantage of those grants because they could be doing the same thing. And I don't know about y'all. I don't want to see another hair shop. I don't want to see another eyelash shop. I want to see innovation, because that's how we move. That we talk about spending power. That's where the spending power going. But I'll be quiet and let these other ladies talk.
Excellent points.
Yes, I want to introduce Tish. What's going on, Tish? And we
just want to take it in. Hey, everybody.
Welcome. What's going on, Miss Path Guidance? You be switching your name up. I ain't gonna get them your government.
Keep playing with it. It's probably keep on playing with it because we can't hear you yet.
Well, is it
Tish,
okay?
I was gonna say, you want to add to the conversation? I know you just slid in.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And hello again, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to be on this platform. I've been a huge fan of Shannon for a long time, just in the cut. And so it surprised me that she even knew that I was a fan, but I guess I'll be on her stuff a lot, so I'm so honored to be here. And there's actually several different conversations happening at the same time. Truly are. You'll notice I speak very slowly because I am a public speaker. I am a public person, being in ministry, being in a leader in different other organizations. What you say holds weight. And there's a certain saying from back in the day, you can even take it biblical: so slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. Because we really need to understand each other at this time. When I say each other, I'm not just talking about the Black community, which I'm getting ready to dive into, but I mean as a globe, as a world, period. Okay, there's just a lot of noise. And at the end of the day, I've already had my Black card revoked for me and uninvited from the cookout many a time. So that don't mean nothing to me. That rolls off my back. But I'm going to say this. We are not a monolith. Just like any other racial, well, there's the human race, but any other ethnic group, we'll get into nationality in a minute, okay? Because that's huge, with other melanated people coming from around the world who are benefiting off of the blood, sweat, tears, and agony and pain and trauma that a lot of our ancestors went to and built on this country for us to even be able to have an opportunity like this. And they're very disrespectful. They're able to come into our neighborhoods, again, with grants and things like that. And so then now they want to look down on Black Americans versus they're from this country or that country, and how we're just all ungrateful and that and that. There is an element of that is absolutely true. And we need to discuss that because there is a great divide.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but if I'm standing on a chair, it's easier for somebody, if I'm trying to help pull them up, it's easier for them to pull me off of my chair and resist me than for me to get them to relax and to come up to where I am, to go to the next level. That's a mental choice. That is a mindset. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, within the Black American culture, there are Blacks that have chosen to live the ghetto, fabulous YN 304. I'm gonna show my nips, my lips and tips and everything else when I walk out the house, and I dare somebody to say something to me. Mm-hmm. It's a reality.
Yep.
Yeah.
The same knuckleheads. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can I ask y'all a question real quick? I don't mean to interrupt. I've been meaning to ask this for a while. What the fuck is a 304?
A hoe.
But wait, how do that? I'm still lost. How did that?
Let me help you out.
The calculator.
This is what happened.
Fool,
back in the day,
that
this
question.
is what happened. Back in the day, when we used to play around on the calculator. But back in the day, when we had the pages,
I had a beeper. I ain't never known that. I ain't never used that in my life. I had beepers.
Neither have I. And I was before the pages.
Like, what the hell?
Hey, I never figured out where that came from. But
that's because I'm gonna tell you something, fool. I'm gonna tell you something, fool. That's some millennial shit. You ain't hip to it, bro. That's millennial shit, man. You ain't hip to it.
You can keep it.
How old is fool?
Thank you.
I'm 49 years old. I'm 50 in November.
The pages were flipping.
He should know that's Zennials, and you should know that. That's Zennials.
Yeah, that's us.
You flip the pager over.
Yeah, y'all.
Well, I'm Generation X. I'm Generation
Me
X.
too.
So
we could tell. We could tell. We could differentiate.
No, if you're
you can, because we came up
1980
right
Zennials.
at the. So we came up right at the end of the 50s, the 60s, the 70s of what, Jim Crow and segregation and all that. Our grandparents and their parents and, were direct, you know, like you were saying, gentlemen, before, I don't have my glasses on, Dennis. You know, y'all are closer to that than we are. However, that was before cable, and so there were 3 channels, and and they had the movie
Black
of the
and white
week,
TV,
and most of us was sat down at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old to watch the week premiere of Roots. And we were taught at an early age that our ancestry started in 1776 with us in shackles and in chains coming over on boats. And well, I'm from the South.
Some of us were. See, I'm a product of Little Rock Central, the Little Rock 9, okay? And because the church that I went to was big on African history, we were taught long before. It wasn't 1776 for me. You see, I knew long before then, and that's part of the reason I've done so much research.
But that's not the majority.
That's not the majority. You're exactly right.
Right, and that's great. That's awesome, but that's not the majority, and that's a lot of the problem of where we're at now to this day, because a lot of us as a community has not gotten exposure. We're just now getting exposure that we had a history before slavery because of the internet and the web. And now we can look up things and we can learn things. And it's like, wow, before all of that, even just what was in the encyclopedias and what's in school was all we knew.
Well, a lot of it had to do with also the schools that you went to. I went to a predominantly Black school as well, elementary.
I don't know, everybody's going in and out.
I actually threw my elementary language arts book out the window because there were no Black people in the book at that time. I wrote things about, I used to think that John Brown was a Black man. You all know who John Brown is, right? He was the white man at Harper's Ferry who led the slave revolt.
Yeah, he's a direct ancestor of mine also.
Right. So I used to think that he was a Black man because we had this book that back then we had Black History Week. We didn't have Black History Month. And every time we would have that, we would go to this book. James Weldon Johnson, Charles Drew, Daniel Hale Williams. I wrote reports about these people when I was in the 3rd grade. But fortunately for me, my 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teacher were all Black. So that color.
But hold on, y'all. Hold on, because I gotta introduce this lady over here. I've been trying to get her on here since we started. Okay. Please unmute yourself and tell them who. Let me tell y'all, first of all, this lady used to do lives all day, just talking. So and she's very non-biased. So she's what we need. She's gonna bring the balance. Like, please introduce yourself to the people. And I just want to hear from her. I want to hear from her.
And let me say this about Path Guidance. Her energy is so amazing that it's scary, and she can get a point across without cussing like I do. And it's gonna come off as
or like me. I'm working on not cussing.
I ain't working on it. I'm sticking with it. But go ahead, April.
Hey, yeah, my government name is April. I'm sorry, Shannon. I fell asleep and I just woke up and I shot up and I said, "Oh crap, I didn't overslept." So thank you so much for having me. What I've heard so far is very interesting. I do believe that we are stuck on something that we need to come off of, and which is what Michael Jackson was trying to get us off of, which is color. I think we're struggling big time when we're only focusing on our race, that we're literally segregating our own selves from the world. The World Cup was something that was very interesting, how you had people that literally told us that they were told by their media how we are. And I had a godfather that's from Ghana that taught at Stillman College, which is in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is the HBCU. And he said they're told over there that once they come over here, our government, not a white person, not a Black person, not an Asian, our government tells them to stay away from us because we are lazy, we're unalivers. I don't know if I'm on a platform where I can say that or not, the other word, that we're bad. And guess what they use? They use our music and they use our movies to scare them, when they, just like they did us in the 80s when We will watch an infomercial and have an African child that's, almost naked and got flies all over them. They want us to think that Africa is like this. Well, we have gotten so divided over here, not only in our own race, but in this country, because we have allowed them to. If another country that's coming over here for the World Cup is saying that they never expected for United States to be like this because their media is telling them, then that lets me know that every leader in every country or whoever's controlling that country is making sure that we all stay divided, because they understand that once we come together, I forgot which movie it is, I don't know if it's Ants, but when that one ant was like, why are we sitting here picking up these people's food every season? And these are grasshoppers.
Yep.
We can do way more if we come together. Stop looking at race. That systematic racism thing was placed to keep us divided. A lot of people don't know this. I'm from the South, the dirty South, as they call Alabama. My great grandfather was an entrepreneur. He had a lot of shops. This is back in the 30s and 40s. Before Jim Crow, poor whites and blacks stayed in the same community.
Yep.
They even intermarried. The loving story is not the only story that this happened. So they want us to believe that master took advantage of the woman and had mixed children. That is so not true. Blacks and poor whites got along, but when they start becoming too comfortable and too close together, that posed a problem for the people that are actually making the money, that owning companies, to where they had to invent something to make the poor white man seem as though that they're more powerful or they have better status than the black person. And that's how Jim Crow started. We are too focused on race, because if you look at your bloodline, you see that you're mixed with a lot of stuff. And when we talk about slavery, we want to believe that we were brought over by ships. Y'all, I need y'all to understand, I'm a business person. Back in those days, it took days, sometimes months, to get over here from Africa. And you have kings and queens giving money for these ships to come and venture out and find the new world. Do you really believe they'll allow their precious cargo, which is humans, to be in a boat with that many people, knowing that a lot of them going to get sick, die, what have you? Do you really believe they're going to waste money on that? Why would they bring someone from a different continent to bring them to a new continent, to something that is growing something totally different from theirs? We were already here. And once you understand that we were already here, that's why they're coming up with every excuse for us to just say, I'm done with the United States, I'm moving to Africa, because they want us to leave. So guess what? So they can come in and take our places.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going on. They're trying to get rid of us and bring people over here. Germany is a prime example where the Jews was literally taken over, to the point where the Germans, they're in their own country, was going through so much where they had nothing, but the Jews was elevated and getting all this stuff, to the point where Hitler had enough. We have been taught wrong. Hitler had nothing to do with Auschwitz. Auschwitz, this is why we're paying these so-called Jews now. It's because the Bush family was controlling Auschwitz. The Prescott Bush father-in-law was also helping him. And they were helping Germany in the war to be able to do what they, and guess what companies helped them? American companies. Ford had a plant there.
Standard Oil.
Yeah, Standard Oil was happening. It was like Colgate. All these companies were helping Germany, because without Ford making tanks, because they had a plant there, and they actually bombed his plant, and he sued United States and won. If it wasn't for Standard Oil, which we know who is the Rockefellers, this is how these people became internationally known, because they were not internationally known before then. We wouldn't have no World War II. Everything is orchestrated to make us believe that it's all about we're fighting for somebody's freedom. It's a lie. We were lied to. So we're paying, like we always do, we're paying for somebody else's crimes. This is why we send money to Israel, because of what the Bush family did. When, if you don't believe me, look it up. Prescott Bush is also the one that started the CIA. And I can go down.
No, I'm shaking my head, because that's a whole nother thing.
Let me just read.
I'm trying to. I'm just trying to explain.
Real quick. I wanted to ask on the path. When you said that the masters weren't doing that to the slaves, you were just saying in some instances, right? Because
yes, in some instances.
Okay,
yeah, in
like,
some
the
instances.
reason why I'm this way is because I know for a fact that the masters were doing. Like, I got family history like that. I know for a fact that that was happening because that's why it's so yellow. Mm-hmm.
So
I just want to make sure that was.
And I said, so my mom's side, they are, and I thought I had Native American, but I had to understand that no, Native Americans has nothing to do with us, period. And I'm telling you right now, we're the indigenous people. But like I was saying, we are too focused on race. And I think what Michael was trying to do while he was alive and what he's still doing after his death is to understand that if we're going to overcome any of this, we're going to need each other. I'm sorry. When you look at the civil rights movement, you didn't see all Black people. You saw all race.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. I don't agree with that. I feel like idealistically, if we were in a utopian society, yes. If we lived in a utopian society, yes. However, that's part of, I think that mindset is what leaves us vulnerable to being picked off by people. Because if we exist in that space and everybody else is looking at race, which they are, and we're the ones saying kumbaya, that kumbaya mindset has gotten us in trouble. My parents fought in the civil rights movement, and I'm telling you right now, it was only like 100, maybe 200 white people that were fighting alongside them. It was majority Black people in the civil rights movement that were risking their lives and dying for this. And what I'm saying is that, and also
what part?
And I just want to jump in and say too.
Wait, I want to say
what part?
Also too,
and that's
Black
true,
Americans.
Just
once again,
I think that leaves us vulnerable and exposed. We can have a heart and say, you know what, if somebody from a different race or nationality is cool, then I'm cool with them. But we have to focus on ourselves and stop being kumbaya with everybody else, because that is not going to get us where we need to go right now. That doesn't mean you can't have your friends and hang out with who you are. But if you're telling me that you're going to take the Black dollar and spread it around to everybody because you feel like, well, we're all in this together when nobody else is participating in that, that is an idealistic trope that is not going to get us where we need to go. Because I am a realist and a pragmatist. I have receipts about what I do in the community. My family has receipts for what they've done in the community. And I just don't think that I know for a fact that is not getting us where we need to go. It does not mean that we have to, it does not mean that we don't have to have the heart for other people, but we need to practice group economics. We need to transfer wealth to ourselves, because we have done.
Hold on, y'all.
There's no
hold
money,
on.
there's no red money. There's no Asian money. Is
hold on, y'all.
Time as a world.
1 second. 1 second. Calm blue oceans. Calm blue oceans. 1 moment, guys. Okay. We're gonna get off into all of that. I know we all been talking, but I do want to at least give y'all some prompts so we could. Because I just want everybody to at least be able to give they 2 cents. I just don't want it to get too far away from what we all came here to do. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody, this isn't it's not a echo chamber. So I know that everybody's gonna have different perspectives, and that's cool. But I do want to share something with you guys, because I understand where everybody's coming from. I do. I definitely understand where Miss OBA coming from, because I've been following her and I know what she stands for. I definitely understand where April's coming from as well. I'm a Libra, so I'm all about like balance and whatnot. I definitely do believe that like our Black community, like we have a lot of people in our community that we don't even know if they're for us or against us, who look like us. That's the biggest issue. And that's where Miss OBA is standing for. That's what she usually talks about, is that like we have a lot of people who have been able to come over here through immigration, legally or illegally, that have been able to latch on to what the Black Americans are actually entitled to. And this ain't even just all people who look like us. We got people who are a part of the same people that you're talking about, April, that have been able to cosplay white Americans. And they're making it seem as if white Americans are our biggest problem, when it's really them. Like, we don't even know who's who. Like, I've been able to look at my lineage, y'all. I have so many white people in my family. The only people that came over here on a boat are white people in my family. I can't speak for everybody else. And I truly do believe that these conversations I don't put out there so people could get in an argument. I don't want to cause no more division. I feel like that we as Americans have to reintroduce ourselves to each other, because a lot of people are very fickle about what they think that they may know about history. And so many things have been getting thrown around because of what we've been taught in school, what TV teaches us, what we see on social media. When truth be told, one thing I agree with Dante on is that the people at the top, these wealthy folks, the JP Morgans and all the rest of these corporations, they're laughing at us right now. They don't want us to get along. What they saw at the World Cup.
Well, they funded a lot of the slave trade and make their money off
a lot of it. And they're still being sued.
I mean, you know, that's
I do this thing called Ventures Tea, where
human trafficking.
I do this thing called Ventures Tea, where I share a historical article that I found, where this article I'm going to share with you all is actually talking about how England was willingly and openly and excited about colonizing India. Like they talked about it as if it was going to be beneficial to the people to colonize India. I don't even know what India they're talking about, because in 1829 there was no India. Wasn't it called like Hindustan?
Yes.
So I don't even know who they're talking about, but I'm gonna share this with you guys. And then we'll move on to the next prompt, because I understand where everybody is coming from. But we all have a common enemy, y'all. We really do. We all have a common enemy. And the sad thing is that the people where I'm coming from on Miss OBA's side is that the people who come over here don't recognize that. And they shit on us about it, when really they should be coming over here uniting with us and building with us. That's what should have happened, but it didn't. And I'm going to tell you where their mindset is right now. I'm going to show you exactly where their mindset is right now. So that way, April, you know that when it comes to this TPS situation, they don't want to unite. They don't want it. They want war with us at this point on our own land.
Yeah, because they wanted to, because of what they've been told, just like we've been told a history. Or
this is a new situation. See, I was talking to one of my to my girl yesterday, Maddie. She's from the United Kingdom. She's a legal citizen here in America, right? And she's not very much so aware of what's going on, because she's been dealing with her own stuff offline. But I don't think y'all understand that people are willing to take their beefs that they got online and they're trying to bring it to the streets, and their eyes are set on this community. They don't see the fact that we all have a common enemy. They don't see the fact that we got a foreign government trying to take over our shit. They don't see the fact that we got data centers that are being put in everybody's community. They only talking about, it's put in black people. No, it's put in rural communities all across this country. It don't matter what race you are. So this is from the Manchester Times and Manchester's and Salford Advertiser and Chronicles, Saturday, October 10th, 1829. And it reads, "The weakness, effeminacy, and cowardice of some of the Indian tribes, the immorality, the barbarism of all have been frequently brought forward as objection to any system." If I mess up the words, it's hard to read it, guys. It's really hard to read it. Has frequently brought forward as objections to any system of European colonization. No protection being given to the moral and corporal infirmity of the native, he would meet with no tender mercies at the hands of the completely strong and vicious colonists. He would be treated worse than a West Indian Negro. Now, the very reason why colonization is desired is the East Indian may be elevated to a condition somewhat superior to that of his West Indian black brother. At present, it might be hard to say whether of the twain is the most to be envied by the other. So notice that they wanted to create division already with people that are supposed to be brothers. They wanted to create division. At the present, it might be hard to say whether of the twain is the most to be envied by the other. Colonization will make the Oriental slave a free man. The Oriental slave. Now, didn't Asia colonize that area of Hindustan? Because India is now a part of Asia. It wasn't at one point. So they already had in their mind that they was going to give the China people of Asia, a leg up over the people that was already there, which is probably not the original people that's there right now. Legislation, they created laws for it, throw around him her benevolent protection if she will, but let him, a British subject, not be denied the benefits which free intercourse with his brethren would confer. That lets you know that these people, they always wanted us to be divided, guys. Always. And what's sad is that they literally, the same way that you were saying, when people come over here from other countries, they tell them how to treat us already.
I want to say something about what you just said, but something that jumped out at me was really powerful is that, you know, we always grew up here in West Indian and we always knew that was Caribbean. But why were they called West Indian? And now that really goes back to the indigenous thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, why were they called West? If we think about it, like, now I think about it, I just grew up under that norm, like West Indian. But now, like, after you read it, I'm like, why would they refer to the Caribbean and West Indian, you know, if they were supposedly, you know, that's what I'm saying. It ties right back to the indigenous thing.
And I'm going to get to your question. My question is who was East Indian if India was not a country? Who was the East Indian people over there? And how were they brothers to the Black West Indian? Who? And then April. Go ahead, fool.
Nah, I'm letting April go first. Go ahead, April.
Go ahead.
So what we need to understand, the only thing that got shipped was shipped out. People that were already here were shipped to the Caribbean. So this is where you get the West and East. And y'all need to understand, even Indians in India were just as dark as us. I'm talking about can get even darker than us.
Yeah, they are.
There are more.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And so, of course, they got colonized, and then they start getting lighter and lighter. And then you got some, especially in the Korea area, even the Thailand, they're literally, I don't know if they're bleaching their skin or what they're doing, but they're getting lighter. And you see that in Africa. So they want us to hate this melanin. Everybody has melanin, it's just some has more than others. I did graphics, so if you look at a color thing, even white people still have melanin, it's just less melanin. Because if they didn't have melanin, how can they give vitiligo? But I digress. So that's what it's all about. So when they were shipping people, not to United States, but they were shipping people out of United States to be able to have more control. And this is why you have, and I believe this is why the immigrants that are coming up from these islands are trying to regain what is rightfully theirs, because they feel as though because we were the ones shipped out, we have every right to come back and say, hey, this is mine.
So with that being said, April, if that is the case, then why come over here and be disrespectful to the people that been here?
Because
we wasn't shipped out.
Yeah. So imagine that, you know, my grandmother, she was not raised by her parents. She was raised, well, her mother, because her mother remarried, but she was raised by her grandparent. When you try to make time to spend time with your siblings, my great grandmother had 18 children. So out of the 18, she was the oldest. She didn't get raised because her husband that she had my grandmother with passed away. And so she remarried and she was raised by her. So just think of yourself being the outsider. And then you're trying to come back in and try to be with your siblings, but you know that you was raised outside of them. You feel some type of way. You get resentment there. You feel as though that you're not going to be treated the same because you were raised by your grandparents and not by your mother and not along with your siblings. And I think that's what's going on. Of course, they add more stuff to them and it makes them, you have every right to be over here because They don't want us to know the truth. That's why it seems as though they're coming over here to take over, but they don't want us to know that we were already here. And they ship people away. They didn't bring people here. They ship people. The only one that came here, like someone said, was the people that was of European descent. That's it. But we were already here. But they ship people away to have more control of who they wanted here and who they didn't want here to be able to control the smaller group than trying to sit here and keep what they have, and then have this what happened in the French Revolution. Well, not the French Revolution, what happened in Haiti, the Haitian War. They don't want that. So that's why they sent them in different places. So they don't want to tell you this is the reason why they're trying to come back, because they was originally here as well. And then they got shipped out. But that's the truth. That's what's going on. And I land my claim.
Fu and then Tish.
The issue that we have is you always factor in the messaging.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about outside the country, and I know this for a fact, when they play American movies outside of the country, especially if it's a quote unquote black movie, they change the wording to make us look even worse. So that when they come over here, they looking at us sideways. And what we're seeing right now, whether they're talking about the food, whether they're talking about American culture or black culture, whatever, with this World Cup, these people are coming over here like, wait a minute, I didn't think America was like this. I thought America was this, because once again, everything boils down to the messaging and who's controlling it. That's why I've always been a fan of, we have to take back of our shit and start saying and putting out the way it's supposed to be, because if not, we lose, along with the fact that they erase shit.
Yeah,
when they was having a conversation earlier about the having black teachers and everything like that, and then Tish said about slavery and things like that, that boils down to what you're taught in your household. If you're taught in a household that everything was slavery, that's what you're going to get, and that's going to be generations down the line. If you got somebody like Dante where they was taught real motherfucking history, that's the shift. So then what happens? Those two children and they start colliding. It's always a beef. That's why I keep saying the same shit over and over again. It's about us fixing our house. Exactly. The culture, I said it before, the culture is done. That's over. Can we rebuild it? Maybe. But they make sure that it's always a fucking fight. Whether it's FBA, whether it's ADOS, whether it's a goddamn tether, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, it's always something. We have to get on code about something. And to me, as far as the black community, when I say black, I'm talking about actual indigenous, even though we know we all twisted up. But indigenous motherfuckers, everybody need to read Powernomics. Everybody just need to read Powernomics. That's like number one. Then kind of get on code about, because we ain't on code about shit. Nothing. Nope. And that to me is the fucking issue. No matter what ends up happening, it's always a beef somewhere. And I'm gonna throw this out there. I meant to say this when you talked about bringing the things to the presses. Do y'all realize that these other countries have come to the World Cup? They bought their own food.
Yep.
They bought their own shit. They said, I don't want to eat nothing out of the United States. So they bought their real shit here because they don't want to fuck with the fake shit.
Nah, bro, no, they did not do that. Who? It was one country that did that.
It's more than one.
It was probably three. I'm telling you, from face value, I saw them eating hella Popeye's chicken in
No, we talk about the athletes. Talk about the athletes. The World Cup teams, they bought their own food.
They was eating that too. I'm telling you, I saw them. They lying. They was definitely eating some ribs down there in the country. They was definitely eating some Taco Bell. They was salivating, whatever the word. They was drooling over how delicious our buffets are. They was tearing that shit up. Tearing it up.
But there were some teams that had their food sent over.
I'm telling y'all, they did, but then as soon as them cameras left over, they went right to McDonald's. Soon as them cameras went off, they went right to get them a Jamaican patty from that one of them spots, I guarantee you that they was eating that food. I'm telling you. I hear what you're saying though, bro, but I had to correct you on that one. No, because that's not the but no, they was definitely eating some crap. The crap that we don't even eat. I don't even eat McDonald's, but they was tearing it up. They was tearing it up. But I wanted to play this video, and I'm gonna play this video, and after I'm done with this video, I want to hear from Dante after this one, because this man right here is from Africa, an African country. I think he is from Cameroon, actually. And he has a live that is on TikTok. And I found this really interesting because these type of conversations is what causes more divide. It's no different than when the Asian man got on here and said what he said when black folks was like that they not gonna mess with certain businesses anymore because of how they shot Cyrus down. And then the moment that he did that, guess what he did? He deleted his video. So he threw a rock, hit his hand, and now I'm telling y'all, I see it in my own community. This boycott is working.
Yes, it is.
Black folks are not going to shop with Asians anymore. So it took one person to get on here and run their mouth. And this one right here, he has no idea where he just started. So I'm going to play this for you all. And I'm going to start with Dante. And then I definitely want to let Tish say something because I saw her hand up and I apologize that I missed you. And I know you're going to interject, Miss OBA. I know you're going to interject. I don't even know if you've seen this video, sis.
I'm trying not to jump in because I just get.
You might just okay. try to be cool, okay? Please try to be cool. All right, let's go.
And the illegal Africans leave, still gonna be millions of us here because most of us are legal. And after that, you have to deal with walking past me in the street with that same energy. You have to deal
War
with
has never solved anything. Why do
No. It's gonna solve something right now. Your downplaying of the African and Caribbean presence and influence in the USA is gonna fix something because because right now, if we do something, it's gonna be put on illegal immigrants, right? Let the illegal ones go, right? Let them go. The legal ones are gonna be a big problem for you. A very big problem.
Explain
okay?
So explain how, sir. Let's hear how.
Okay. It's okay. Let the illegal ones leave.
To hear how. We want to hear this.
For instance, right, we've had people that have come up here and said they have no issue with Haitians, but they support the anti-Haitian hate. They say for some reason deporting Haitians is gonna benefit Black Americans. Those same people said they have Haitian friends. Guess what? Those Haitian friends you have family that might be going through this. Also have Haitian friends that might be going through this, just like the Mexicans and the Africans. When that is done, and we see that what you stand for, as we're seeing right now, what you stand for, which is anti-Haitian hate, we are gonna deal with you. We're gonna deal with you. Let's face it, right? Because she says she wants us to come together, spend together. But for some reason, the Black American dollar spends less than 6 hours in the Black community. We're going to make it spend less than 30 minutes. We're going to take it out. That's one thing you don't get. And number two, that same, spending power you got, right? The one you keep bragging about, that comes down to us too. We are going to create a clear delineation with the spending power, with educational certificates and every single thing. You guys want to deal in it. We can make this worse. We're going to make this worse because you guys only became the most educated Black women in America when the Nigerians came in. We're going to make it worse. We're going to make it worse. You guys, for some reason, your men began, having a higher productivity rate. When the African men came in, Haitian men came in, we're going to make it worse. You guys had a bitter Haitian day and Haitians ain't throw a single punch back. We're going to make it worse. You guys disrespect Buffalo soldiers. Every single thing they fought for and died for on this land. We're going to make it worse. You fight against Mexicans.
Y'all not doing shit, man. Bring it on.
Shut up.
You're just saying a bunch of nothing, bro.
This is what I don't understand. Why is this about
talking about?
Shut up. Because see, listen. You guys are supporting a government, fighting for a government that is kicking out a guy named San Antonio from a place called San Antonio. You support a government that is kicking out Mexicans, like this one said, Mexicans. USA, California was Mexico. Texas was Mexico. New Mexico was Mexico. Arizona was Mexico. San Francisco was Mexico. And you guys want to kick out a guy called San Jose from a place called San Jose. Guess what? Once you kick out San Jose, you gotta deal with a lot more sands. There are way more than, like, there are a million more sands you gotta deal with. Because see, the moment the cartel
He really
turn on
thinks
you,
the
you're done
Hispanics
for.
are going to be on their
Because
side when it comes down
that's what
to
you don't
it.
get.
He's a fool.
Everyone fighting the
He's
government
lost.
except you. You fighting the government and everyone else.
It's your
That's the
military.
thing. See,
Listen, you're not about to
see,
fearmonger us,
the
man.
moment. See, you're not listening. You're not listening.
Oh my God.
That's what I mean.
He's lost. And Shannon, we can't hear you.
Shannon, we can't.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you say what you got to say. I'm giving everybody 2 minutes because
Okay.
I want us to be able to
Oh.
deal with the other prompts that I have. So Dante, you got 2 minutes. Go.
Okay. Let me just quickly read this quote about poor whites and poor blacks. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. You know who said that?
LBJ.
LBJ, exactly. So this is really about rich against poor. But I agree with you, Miss OBA, because here's the bottom line, and we forget, long before there was black and white in America, and Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, in his book that came before Columbus, will show you that black people were already here. The majority of them were here. I disagree with you, Miss Path, because there were some, that's where the Middle Passage came from. I've traced my lineage all the way back to Ghana and Nigeria. Okay. So some of those slaves were bought over here. But here's the bottom line. And I agree with Fu. I don't give a damn about nobody else's culture but our culture. Okay. We spend all of this money, just what he was just saying, but we don't let it go to our communities. The key, what white people understand, is money. That's their God. Okay. That's the only thing they care about. And until we understand that concept, we're going to continue to be at the proverbial back of the bus. It was 10 years ago when I first floated the idea that black athletes should start boycotting the SEC and all of the colleges. Just 6 months ago, DL Hughley brings it up, and oh yeah, we ought to be doing that. We can control our destiny simply by controlling our dollars, because that's all they care about. That's why they're upset.
10 seconds.
Okay, that's why they're upset with us. That's why the Asians are upset. We're not shopping with them. The economic boycott was the most powerful weapon we used in the 60s. If we simply employ that today as a race of people, it will change. I guarantee you, because all they care about is money.
All right. Tish.
Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
sorry I have made you wait so long. Go
No,
ahead,
it's
Tish.
all right. I'm a guest. I'm just, following the lead. And I definitely want to make sure that this stays productive and educational. Again, like I started, we're not a monolith. We all have, hopefully most of us can be critical thinkers and think for yourself and not ascribe to any man-made label that's put on us. Just really quick, when I hit on the slavery thing, I didn't mean to trigger, and I know it's a trigger, but my point was back then with the media control like it is now. It was really controlled then, but it's controlled now. All we see is the worst of the worst of the worst of our communities. Yep. And I say communities because yes, it's predominantly us, but they show, ratchet Hispanics, they show ratchet Asians. I mean, I follow everything. If you know me, I'm not a racist. I have white people in my family. I have Mexicans in my family. Since I was a child, I grew up, and this is just Aunt Loretta and Uncle Chuck. Like we never were really pushed that, even though it was on the TV and my stepfather was a racist. My mom always taught us common sense and to treat people like we want to be treated, regardless of the color of their skin. Because when you project that energy, that's the energy that you're going to get back. And you will always walk around with a chip on your shoulder, thinking somebody's thinking that you're less than, and you will never really truly delve into who God created you to be, which I'm a believer. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Everybody else can come out the closet. I'm going to come out the closet. I'm a Christian, and I believe that God created all of us, and we're all made in his image. There's not one people set a group that he said is better than anyone else, even the ones that have claimed to be chosen. Which Shannon brings back to Shannon's point, we all have the same enemy. And if we really sit here and do our research, who's behind the media? Who's behind the propaganda and our music and our TV? Who owns those things? The same people who...
No, 5 seconds. Finish the point.
I thought you were saying that's it.
No.
I just get it, because there is a bigger enemy while we're sitting here, like varmint, which is what they think we all are. And they're the ones that's really getting our money.
Yep.
We are slaves to them. Okay. And it don't matter who you are and where you're from. And we need to start waking up and realizing that, because there's more of us than there are of them. And there's no left, there's no right, there's no Republican, there's no Democrat. The Democrat plantation is the worst thing that's ever happened to the Black community, but that's a whole nother thing. And I'm not saying Republicans are all that great either. It's the wings of the same bird. Like brother said earlier, it is exactly the same, but we need to be having critical thinking, and we need to move past the skin and look at how the person's character is within. And that's the only way we're going to elevate as a people. I'm done.
All right. Good point. All right, Miss OBA, I see your face.
Well, because that guy, first of all, I feel like he just validated my point. We can't be sitting there trying to hold hands with people who want to beat us down like that. I'm sorry, like that works in some contexts, in other contexts it doesn't, and we need to employ whatever methods we need to advance as a community. If that's working with people at that time because it makes sense, that's fine. If that's being ethnocentric and focusing just on ourselves, then that's what we need to do. I'm not sitting here trying to kumbaya with people just so everybody thinks I'm okay. I'm trying to advance my community, and we're suffering and we're going through a lot. And so even though I do agree that they show a lot of degeneracy, there's reasons for that degeneracy. And that means that we as a community need to save the ones we can, and then let the ones that we can't save, they need to go, regardless of, what have you, because they're weighing us down. So my point of that is saying that dude who was speaking or whatever, that is the mindset. He's just being honest about what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they want to do. And we cannot ally with that. We cannot pretend that we're all getting along with that mindset when that is all these different groups of people feel like that about us. We can want to be a kumbaya, but everybody looks at us in a certain way and wants to treat us in a certain way, wants to steal from us. This is how we were colonized. When the Europeans first came here, they came and we were trying to kumbaya with them, and that is how we were decimated. We have to learn from our history. We cannot repeat it. That does not mean that at some point when we establish ourselves as a community, we need to get ourselves together as people first. Once we get ourselves and we're strong and we are supporting each other and we got group economics, then maybe we can start to think about other people and holding hands with other people. But as long as we have people out there like that dude who was just talking and he's, saying what he was threatening us. That was a threat. He was straight up threatening us, saying that, you know what, y'all will get rid of them, but the ones of us that are legal, we gonna come for you. And he was threatening us by basically saying he was gonna unalive us. I cannot kumbaya with that, and I will not. And I will not apologize for not doing that. I'm not gonna apologize for not kumbayaing with people that I know don't like and want to hurt my community, because I've seen what has done. I want to make sure that my lineage and my people can survive and get to the next level. I'm not gonna sit here and hold hands and try to, hold hands with somebody who's trying to chop it off. I'm not gonna sit here and try to hug somebody trying to blow me up. Now, if somebody's cool with me, I'm cool with them. And that's how I look at it, because we are in a situation where our community needs to progress and thrive. And that means that we need to get ourselves together first, focus on ourselves, and then we can think about everybody else after we are okay. We are barely at heartbeat. And once we get a heartbeat, and then we get to another level where we're out of critical condition, then we can start to think, and we're out of the wheelchair, then we can start to think if we want to sit there and have guests over. That's where we need to be. We can have guests over once we are healthy, in a good position, and in a good place. And we are not there at this time. Not all of us. Some of us are, but not enough.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well said. All right. Come on.
So I want to, is it, because I'm on my phone, so the names are very small. I think that says Dante. Dante, you have to understand that everything that we use for our DNA to go and do all this, trying to see where we come from, is ran by the government. So they're going to put what they want to put on there. So I digress. But y'all need to understand, I get what I think is Miss Obi. If I'm saying it wrong, I do apologize. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying to sit here and just welcome people that are showing us that they don't care for us. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we got to start somewhere to start. First of all, we got to educate home. Once we educate ourselves and understand what is really going on and stop using this fear tactic, and we're running off fumes, because we're going to forever run in circles if we keep doing that. And my brain goes like 1,000 miles per hour, so I'm trying to slow it down as I'm speaking. So once we understand what is going on with our community, then of course, like I said, the ones that are over there in Africa, Haiti, China, they're all told one story, that we're this big bad wolf, we're stupid. I mean, they do it in our politics when the Democrats have people twerking on a stage and saying and talking all ghetto, the politicians not giving us no politics, because they're showing the world this is how dumb we are. They are letting the world know we're stupid. So that's why he's saying what he's saying, that the Nigerians did this and this country did this in Africa and Haiti did this, because they have been told that we're stupid and dumb. So once we understand the blueprint of how they're dividing us, then we can move forward and understand this is why they see us. The reason why that situation that happened with that young man, that Asian guy, because guess what? They have a country backing them up. We don't. And I'm done.
Word. Fool. On you.
The biggest thing that people tend to forget about in this country is that we live in a fucking caste system. Every single country is a caste system. It has never changed. It never will change. They could talk about race all they want, but it's always going to boil down to the dollar. And when it comes to us, if we want to talk about the community and spending money in the community using your dollar, how many of those businesses are you spending that money on that's keeping that money in the community? They using your money and they buying red bottoms and all this other shit and this, that, whatever. That's why I always say find a business that's actually for the community. They may be hard to find, but it's a few of them out there. And I would say dedicate your money to that. And in order for us to do better, it's up to us. Because the fact of the matter is, no matter what race, when I go down the street here in Douglasville, Georgia, it's some trailer parks. Everybody in that motherfucker, it ain't just black people. It ain't just Mexicans. It's everybody. So white privilege and white supremacy, it can only go but so far, because some poor ass white people too. They can miss me with that shit.
I live around them.
So I'm saying that to say we have to do better of communicating with each other, because most of the motherfuckers that you don't want to be around are the ones that you need to be around, because they got some information that you don't. And if you are a fucking tether, like that motherfucker that was on that video, the people he talking about that's going to revolt, when they revolt, they're going to lose their goddamn citizenship. They ain't revolting a goddamn thing because they don't want to leave from over here. Miss me with the bullshit. While he talking that shit, they're going to be standing right behind him. Because it's a waste. Yeah. So people do all this talking because they in their feelings. And I'm going to say it like I said in the beginning of the goddamn show. Temporary. You're supposed to be here temporarily, not forever. You want to be here forever? Do it the right way and make sure you ain't doing the bullshit. And I land my plane like that.
Man.
Good point.
Good point. All good points.
Yeah.
I was not expecting for us to not get through nothing. No, but we talked about everything. I didn't even have to point out any of the prompts, because I just feel like that everybody just came with something that was necessary, and I appreciate it. So I think the big question is for me is like, like, do you all think this divide is being pushed more by politicians, media, corporations, or outside communities?
All of the above.
All the above.
All the above, but most of them, and it's sad to say, a lot of people keep talking about JP Morgan. Y'all need to understand JP Morgan was just a face. Rothschilds own the bulk of JP Morgan.
You know that's not their real name?
They're supposed to be Jews. They're supposed to be Jews.
That means
I've been digging
Israel.
Moscow means red flag.
It's real, but that ain't their real name. They've been able to change names so much throughout history, the same way that they've been able to change races. Like people think that when you see somebody who is Jewish, that they automatically are white. No, that's not true. There's Asian Jews, there's Jamaican Jews, there's Jews all of like Jew is not a nationality.
Yeah, it's a religion. It's a religion.
And that's why one of the reasons why it's very important that people are careful when they even talk about, because you're kind of like pooping on a whole group of people that believe in one thing.
Because they follow. They're gonna go with what those white Jews say for a large point of time. So that's the issue. And a lot of Jews, people don't even realize a lot of Jews in Israel are atheists. They don't even believe in God, and people don't even realize that. Like, the thing is that
they're gonna shadow ban this. I know they are.
Well, since you throw that out there, Miss OVA,
then
you have to think about
what you're saying is real, though, Shannon.
Well, we call them small hats to not shadow.
I mean,
you want to call them small hats?
They hate to see us coming, y'all. We go.
But see, what you have to understand is the philosophies. If you go by the Bible, if you go by Haile Selassie, and you understand where they came from, the Jews that we talk about today are not the original Jews. They are Ashkenazi Jews. Okay, the original Jews were the philosophies. Okay,
we all know that, and they're mad. They're mad that we know the truth about that.
And the reason we know that now, and fortunately for me, you don't see my library behind me, but I've got a wall of books. Long before the internet came along, I went and did the research because I was trying to decide whether I wanted to be Christian or did I want to be Muslim. I decided I didn't want to be any of them based on their histories. Okay. And no offense to anyone who choose whatever religion you want, but I went and personally did the research. A lot of people don't understand that Haile Selassie was the king of Ethiopia, was Italy. The Pope waged war on Ethiopia because he was saying he was a direct descendant of Jesus Christ. That's why World War I began. And Ethiopia ended up being the way it is. So when you really go back and you study, and this is why I tell people more than anything else, if you just simply go and read history, if you go and read and I read Muslim book texts, I read the Quran, I read the Bible, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Naim Akbar, I could go on and on and on. A lot of people don't understand that what is going on today in America is because white people are afraid that they are becoming a minority. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing made that statement back in 1987 on Donahue. You all may be too young to know that, y'all.
Hold on. I love me some. Hold on. That's auntie.
Okay.
That's auntie.
If you just listen to a Bob Marley album, you know what the Haile Selassie situation is going on. Like, I mean, that's all the Rastas. That's the Rastas' whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
See, this is why we be need. I feel like, we need to have a book club. Like, we need to start a Realist Lounge book club, and we need to just like learn about these things together. Because I think that a lot of people I have no idea what the ISIS papers was, and it
is by far my favorite.
I saw the lecture. The lecture is long, like, you know what I mean, and I think that when people think about now, granted, it was some things that I noticed as I got older and watched Dr. Frances Cress Welsing that I ain't really particularly agree with, because she was obviously a Democrat. But I believe that, like, when it comes to race in this country, and the reason why it's bubbling up so much right now is because people are waking up. It's because they don't want people to recognize that they've been lied to about their history and who they are, like, their entire lives. And then again, they also don't want people to come together and be like, okay, we about to like get up in their ass right now. and we got to fight this. But we got till 2030, guys. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Like, we got a very short period for people to like wake up.
Why 2030?
You know what's going on in 2030.
Are we talking about CERN?
The agenda.
The agenda.
Oh, it's not gonna happen. I can tell you that right now.
How you know?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen.
Well,
she get them downloads. That's why when she said it, I was like,
hold on.
They're
Look,
voting today if they're going to merge our military.
Ain't it crazy how they doing that before they do the SAVE Act?
With the small hats?
Yes. Did you know
But
about
see,
that?
this is what
Hold
y'all
on,
okay,
see,
well, let's
hold
talk
on.
about the Bible. Let's talk about the Bible. The Bible talks about that there on the earth. That's why I don't like. I used to think, okay, we can get to a place of peace, but the Bible says, God in the Bible already says that the earth will never know peace. He said, I did not. He said, you can. It is in the Bible. He said there will never be peace on the earth. So the thing is that like and he talks about the Antichrist, and they interviewed Elon Musk, and they said, you know, do you think you're the Antichrist? He said, if I'm not, we are creating it. Like a lot of these people are Satanists, and like we think it's just. That's what I'm saying. I hear what you're saying, Path, where you're saying Path Guidance is like we have to all get along. But what I'm saying, and I think this will make it clear, because I'm not against what you're saying. I'm saying we are in a situation where there are demonic people, and then there are people who are good. There are a lot of demonic mindsets out there, and we can't ally with them. And yes, and it doesn't matter what color. You're right about that, because there's
we
gonna
got
be
demons walking.
demons that are African, that are Indian, that are Black, that are white. Like there's a lot of demonic forces that are out there right now. And I was thinking, because I was like, why is it things that we understand that are just clear? And why is it so hard? And people fight me and get angry when I tell them something that they can look up for themselves. Like, let's talk like Margaret Sanger or whatever, Planned Parenthood. It's like, you can go to Planned, but why are you mad at me? And I do think that now I might be tripping, but I think they cast spells on us. Like I really,
that's what I was about to talk about. That's why they're taking
crazy. It's like
that.
Yeah, like
that's why they're. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that the data center is taking away the water. Water, y'all need to understand. I just made a video about it recently. How it holds everything. That's why the depth is so. That's why we haven't touched but 30% of water of the ocean. We haven't explored it for a reason. Once we get to the realization, because we are so disconnected with Mother Earth, I need to understand, how can animals be more in tune with Mother Earth than the greatest creation, which is human beings? We are out of tune based on what we've been eating. If you notice, I used to grow up and I didn't have to go get snacks from the house. We had stuff growing outside. You can just snap and get an apple, blueberries, blackberries, whatever you had growing. You don't see that anymore. They want us to rely solely on the government, but that's not what I'm getting at. They're taking away the water because the water is going to help us to remember. Once we start, and I know I'm probably speaking over a lot of people's heads. People are not going to understand what I'm saying here, but water is very important. We are in water. We come out, our body needs more water than anything else. And I'm not talking about the bottled water that we're drinking. I'm talking about the natural water, which is in fruit. And this is where we mess up at. When we sit here gouge, because my son, he can tear up a bottle, like 24 cases or 32 cases in 2 days, because he's thinking that's what his body's needing. But your body needs the minerals and the natural water, which comes from fruit. And this is why you don't see fruit trees. This is why it's a lot of things that I want to talk about when it pertains to spirituality.
They took away the female fruit trees.
Just so you know, make sure you free on Monday of next week, because that's I know food, we could definitely tap into that. We need to, because I think that like last week we spoke about the music and we didn't really get to tap all the way into the frequency.
Which is light.
Exactly, but not only that, and how they changed the frequency in music, and how important music is, how important sound is. Sound can move water, and considering that they changed the frequency of water, and that our body is like 70 to 80% of water, that means that we move how the music moves when it comes to Black people. So when I see you, Tish, and I'm gonna let you go in a minute. I had to like school a couple of people on Facebook. Facebook really like it. I had to tell a couple of people, because I get so tired of seeing people put so much energy into tearing down the most degenerate side of Black America. Like they make this their content on a regular basis, which is some of the things that really kind of piss me off about people on our side. Is that y'all focus so much on the negative shit when it comes, like they don't understand that words are spells. So if we know that there's a spell that's going on, and the only thing that you talk about is look at them, look at Bonquisha, look at them fighting, look at the Carnival Cruise, look at this doing that. In fact, I see y'all talk more about them than the brother who what did he do with the gas? Then he created plastic,
turning plastic.
He turned plastic into gas.
I just want to interject with one thing, and it's so because less than 1% of our community is in jail for violent crimes. Why do we talk about less than 1%? So I'm gonna mute again because I know Tish has to talk, but I just want to say
The thing is that
so I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, the thing is, and then I'm gonna let Tish go, is that like I just feel like we kind of really be putting spells on ourselves. In a lot of ways, like when we constantly are talking and sharing videos of degeneracy within the community, and we're constantly talking, and then our music doesn't help. I just seen a video with T.I., T-Pain, and somebody else came out with a song talking about I'm hanging with the dope boys. We know your old ass is not. So you being almost in your 50s, why would you even create a song like this? And I see people in the comments excited about it. Well, this millennial stuff. Can we not hang out with the dope boys no more? Like, can we get them out of our community? Because they're not helping. They're not building nothing. They're not buying no gas stations. They're not building no hospitals. The dope boys are not the dope boys from back in the day where they were handing out turkeys on Thanksgiving. These ain't the same ones. They come in the community and they do their thing, and then they go back to the suburbs where they living at. We need to get them out of the community. We need to get Caricias out of the community. We just need to really like ban hip hop rap music at a certain level at this point. That's just my thoughts. And then I'm gonna wait a minute. Hold on, April. I want Tish to go because she's been waiting for a minute. Go ahead, sis. Tish?
No, I was just gonna piggyback on Miss DBA because I mean she's got some good points. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We hear you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
I can hear and see you guys. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Miss DBA, she was hitting on something that is the bigger picture, whether you again want to ascribe to a religion or not. I mean, I ascribe to spirituality. I don't believe in man-made religions. People can argue about that with Christianity if you want to, but I know the origins of it. And you kind of touched on that with the Pope in Ethiopia. I will go back though to this is a battle against good and evil. There is demonic. There are demons. There are witches and warlocks and voodoo and hex. And within the Black community, we tend to, and I'm from Texas, New Orleans, right? So it's kind of just like the part of the culture, and it's just like we kind of joke about it and all that kind of stuff. But putting a root on someone or
I know who you're talking about.
Spells like Shannon's talking about with these words and stuff. That is real. And I'm not going to say we don't need people within our community calling out the bad behavior, but we need the balance where there's those of us talking about the good in our culture too, so we can rebuild and move. 100%, the whole culture's got to go. The YN culture has got to go. I'm happy that I'm a baby mama and I got a baby daddy and that kind of stuff has to go. It is cancerous and it's detrimental to the future of if we want to say we have a Black American culture. We're going down that road for the past 4 or 5 generations, and where is it getting us?
Nowhere. Death and destruction.
We have to start being the light. We have to start having some light and shedding light.
Because I understand what you're saying.
Hold up. Before let April go.
Let April go, Dante, real quick. And we're going to close out in a minute.
Yeah, I just want to say this one thing. That's it. You when we were talking about T.I. and their music, if you notice, Andre 3000 came out with a whole frequency type meditation album. But everybody was like, why are you not rapping? He said, because I'm no longer there no more. This is where I'm at today. So that lets you know that the industry pushes these people that's on contract that sign their soul over, and they have to meet deadlines or meet certain requirements. If they don't, they know they're going to be either out on the streets and struggling, or they're going to be no longer with us. So that's why these other people continue on making this horrible music to keep our vibrational very low, so that we don't, once we get, that's what I went from politics to what I'm doing now, to try to raise people's vibration. Because once you do that, when you on a frequency, the people that are on a lower frequency can't touch you, period.
Yeah.
Point blank. And that's all I have to say.
Just quickly, I'm so glad to hear you all talking about this music. This is one of the things that I talk about often on Black Focus Radio and Malcolm Jamal Warner made an excellent point. He said, all rap music is today is murder, mayhem, and misogyny. All right. And that's what our kids are listening to on a regular basis. It's garbage in, garbage out. I also have a campaign on my show where to get rid of the N-word. I don't use that word because it's a negative connotation. We have to start thinking more positive about who we are and what we're going to be. And if we're going to continue to use negative and derogatory words against our men, against our women, then this is what we are seeing on a regular basis. So I appreciate you all making that point, because you all are younger than me. But every time I hear that word, I bristle. One other quick point and I'll be done. The number one TV shows that we watch, what is it? Power. I shouldn't say we because I don't watch them. The new one is Nemesis. All of it is about drugs, gangs, and violence. And we are pushing those things. Nemesis was the number one show on Netflix last week. Why are we allowing them to do that? 75% of the record producers are Jewish or white. They don't even let their children listen to that music. Why are we letting our children listen to that music? We got to become more conscious of that.
Folks need to go back to watch CB4 again. That's what it is. They need to like I hear Nakia, shout out to Nakia in the comments. She said we shouldn't go back to the past. People might need to though. Like it's certain jewels that you will find like right now. I'm not gonna hold you. Me in our house. We started back watching The Have and the Have-Nots. That's Tyler Perry's first series. It's long as hell, but I'm gonna tell you what we've learned a lot from it, about how politics work, about how the justice system, how grimy people can be, about how upper class Black people look down on lower class Black people, how upper class white people look down on lower class white people. So I think that we could end it with this. At the end of the day, rich people don't care about nobody but other rich people.
Exactly.
What, can I say something before we end it?
Go ahead, hon.
Well, I was gonna wait till you finish, but I just wanted to.
Rich folks don't care about nobody but other rich folks. They really don't care. In fact, at this point, they are really super entertained by us completely just being disrespectful to each other, hating each other, arguing online. Like the things that's going on TikTok right now are unbelievable. Like they're allowing racist stuff to go down. You know what I mean? In fact, if you even speak out against it, they shadow ban you. So I think that we're in the midst of one of the biggest energy harvesting sessions that we have probably experienced in our life. And it all is happening because we're awakening from something right now. I think I'm seeing so many white folks that's talking about the conversations that Miss OBA has. You know what I'm saying? I can't hear you.
I was on mute. I was gonna say they take my content a lot. Actually, I've been noticing that. Like those
not they cosplaying your content. Sis.
Some of it, like I'm like, it's just too. It's like I'll say it, and then I'm like nobody else, and then they'll just pop up. I'm like, but I was gonna say
that. What you was gonna say?
Yeah, the music is casting spells too. Now, don't get me wrong. I listen to hip hop. I grew up on 90s hip hop, and I listen to NWA. I listen to Q-Tip. But I think the Israelites were right when they said, I remember it was a couple years ago, we all joked about it, about how we were going to get superpowers, because the Israelites were saying that Jupiter was going to do, like Jupiter was coming through and it was changing, and we were going to wake up from it, and our curse was over. And remember, the curse they said was 400 years, and they said Jupiter had not experienced that in 400 years, which is about the same time that that, you know, chattel slavery existed in America if you go back to like the 1526 or so, you know what I'm saying? So there may be some truth to that. And the thing is that like I'm jumping around, but I want to say that like this may be more of just like you said, a spiritual battle. And I think I do think that we may be the chosen people, and therefore we will go down. I think white supremacy is a virus. It is a demonic mindset of how they behave. And if anybody's infected with it, whether it's our people, their people, Asians, tethers, whatever, that's part of the problem. And I think that we may be the chosen people, but if we're infected with it, you know, then we're going to go down with them to hell. And I think we need to get ourselves right. And we need to start to, if they're casting spells on us and that's something with their words and the music, then that means that music and words, and we need to start speaking our words and our music, even if it's 1, 2, or 3 of us, and elevate it on a higher vibration. So I'm just saying we need to start not necessarily casting spells, but I don't like the way that sounds, but we need to start speaking life into our own community, speaking life over ourselves, our
speaking
children.
life, speaking positivity,
Speaking life.
speaking
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Prosperity.
Go ahead,
I'll end it like this. First and foremost, we need balance. And that's what people need to focus on, is actual, like, real balance on all types of levels, and actually focus on that frequency, because people are like, they kind of gloss over that. And when it comes to whatever's put out there, tune that shit out. Tune that shit out. And Shannon, know I say this all the time. I think April probably heard me say this shit too. Stop celebrating these goddamn holidays. Please stop celebrating these fucking holidays. Create your own. Create your own on your day. This, that, whatever. Get your ass get outside with your feet in the grass and do it the right way, because the control is crazy. And as soon as we break that chain, it's game over. It's already kinks in it. Don't get it twisted. It's kinks in it. But there's enough of us that still embrace the bullshit. And then they invite the bullshit and people go back and forth with them. Leave that shit alone.
Yeah. I'm sad that we didn't get to talk about the Black nobility. That would have been so good. But okay. That's what I need April back for. I know you know about who that is. I know you do. I know you do. I know you do, though. Oh, look, listen, we went over, but this was a great conversation, guys. I thought it was gonna get spicy, but I'm glad it didn't. Because we try to keep it peaceful here, but we definitely don't. We want different perspectives. We don't want it to be an echo chamber. And anybody out there that's watching, I welcome you. Like, if you are a Democrat, if you're a Republican, it don't matter. We're just trying to figure out what we could do and play our part in trying to protect our country, how we can heal it, because it is sick. It's very sick right now. It's very sick. Like Nakia said, it's USA under Satan's authority. That's where we are right now. It's a lot going on out here that is affecting all of us. At this point, it's no way of saying, oh, well, they just putting data centers in Black neighborhoods. No, it's affecting everybody, and it will, because we all need water. We all like quiet. We all need the natural environment. We need these things, and we have to be focused on making sure that our house is in order. Regardless of what's going on outside of your home, make sure that your house is in order. Make sure that you are trying to learn how to financially set yourself up, physically set yourself up, mentally and spiritually set yourself up. Stay away from anybody that is not on that same vibe, because we got a lot of demonic presence that's walking around here. Literally, there are people walking around eating raw food, raw chicken, raw deer, having sex with animals. It's a lot of stuff that's going on out here. So the best thing that I can tell you all to do is learn to raise your vibrations as much as you can, as best as you can. Protect your neck, because they're trying to cut your head off. They really are. They really are. But I love you guys. And yeah, we're going to close it out. It's 2:23. I'm hungry. I got a weight problem. Can't wait to eat.
Could you close it out with something, with a positive, speaking life over our community?
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to say that we are beautiful people. We are so beautiful. We're so welcoming, sometimes to a fault. And I really want us to get back to welcoming each other. We've let politics tear us apart so much that we can't even see past red and blue. We understand that we have people who may be tethers, but every immigrant I don't look at as a tether. I look at people who come to our community who are respectful as family. That's where we need to go. These conversations I feel I would like to have with other immigrants who that brother that was up there right then and there. I would love to have a conversation with him, because I believe that we're where we are right now is because we haven't had these conversations and we don't respect each other's culture. At the end of the day, we are all human beings, God's children. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on how we could be better at being God's children, because a lot of us has fallen off the wagon several times in our lives. And right now, this beef that we got is showing that we're falling off the wagon. Let's figure out what we could do to clean up our music. Let's listen to some higher vibrational music. If you can, definitely listen to Andre 3000's Flute album and raise your vibration the best way that you can. And realize that you're not perfect. Perfection is boring. We are merely spiritual beings having a human experience. Once you look at it like that, you'll realize that you got to learn to give yourself grace. My man says this all the time. We got to give each other grace. Foundational Black Americans, white Americans, Hispanic Americans. At the end of the day, we all Americans, and how we feel about this country is how we should start feeling about each other. And that's where I stand. I love you all. I love my country. I love what it stands for, no matter what's going on with the 1%. I love good people, and that's it, and that's all. And that's all I try to do is bring love and light to good people, period. America first, and anything outside of that, you better catch up, because we ain't going nowhere. Boop. I'm going to end it.
Later, y'all.
Hey, enjoyed it. Hey, go out and get the book, by the way.
Yes, share your book.
Get the book.
The Pain of Vengeance.
Okay.
Yes, guys. And please, man,
That's
love
a dope
on your
cover.
men. Love on your men today, okay? It's the end of the month. Love on your men. If you got a son, if you got a brother, if you got a father, if you got a husband, a boyfriend, whatever, love on your men. It's been Mental Health Month. It's coming to an end. We got to start showing love to our men, because they are neglected publicly. They're made to feel as if they don't matter, as if their feelings don't matter. We've seen it with Father's Day. Love on the men, all right? Please love on good men. If they full of shit, they could go to hell. So I'm just playing. I'm trying to stop cussing, guys. Next time I come back, I'm gonna start talking a lot differently. All right, I promise. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much, Nakia. Thank you for being in the comments. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, by the way,
Facebook,
look what I just got.
IG. What's that?
You can get my hardback as well. It just came from. I've been waiting on it for the longest.
What is it? Is it a swear jar?
This is the hardback. By the way, if you don't read, you can get an audio book as well.
If you don't,
This is the hardback.
Congratulations. That's a beautiful
Congratulations.
cover.
That looks good.
Thanks a
I
lot.
like the cover.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations and much blessings to you.
And y'all got a good show. I enjoyed it. Love the
Thank
different
you.
back and forth. You talked about music just quickly. You want to talk about vibrations? Go back and listen to Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On."
Man, you better know it.
Go check it
Listen, next episode, we definitely gonna touch on vibrations, and I definitely need you back, April. So if you guys want to come back, you're more than welcome. If you know anybody who's interested, tell them to hit us up at therealistlounge@gmail.com or DM me and Fu. And Mark will be back next week, so it's definitely gonna be spicy. So we'll see you all next time. All right, we're gonna end it here. Have a good Monday, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Y'all have a good day.
You too.
We're kosher.